in footwear specifically, or like in the garment as well, there is the production lot kind of feature is required. Why this is? Because in footwear, especially in a major context, they are having an order of the like 10,000 pieces and they want to run it the production in the lots. Okay, there can be a 200 pieces lot also can be there. Each like they are not running all 10,000 pieces at a once. Whatever they are running the production, you can say you can call in a batches as well. Okay, instead of the lot, so they want to run it the production by the lots in terms of the batch. They want to split the production in batches and they want to run the each and every batch through the each and every process differently. They can do it. And there are some related, you can enable the shrinkages in your receipt of the production further. So whatever the customers, again, uh, I just want to mention it. There are several settings, okay, because these are not settings required, may not required to one customer, but as per their requirement, what kind of product they are dealing with or what kind of product they are, like manufacturing particularly, or like they are having a business of which product. Uh, so according to that particular thing only, we need to enable this particular the production functionality, because everyone is not using the lot, everyone is not dealing with the shrinkages. Okay, so some of the customers do not want a daily production log entry, because this particularly again with the socks manufacturing company. This is related to again footwear company. So this can be related to the fabric one. So different customers, different approach will be there, and according to that, we may need to enable this setting. Uh, Unnecessarily, some of the things when you enable from the setting, that can be like the trouble for the user as well. Unnecessarily, the fields will get enabled on that their screens. So one is that again the release of production order automatically. This is related to production. In FashionNX, as and when the production plan get created, the production order should get automatically released. So there can be a like the changing the date in issue in receipt in case customer are making the entries in the system of the production a day later. So in that case, they want to enter the date manually for the data entries, so that we can enable it here. Some of the customers are doing the entry in a live manner. Some of the customers are doing the entries in day after, like the once the day end, the day is end, and on the next day morning they are making the entries of the previous day. So that time they want to change it, the date for the entries, that is possible. Uh, Again, there is a one, like whenever the inventory is giving on production floor from this raw material store, so that time we are using the material issue screen here, and at that point of time we just are want to transfer that raw material from one warehouse to another warehouse. So instead of the using the goods issue for production, okay, so we can use this. So generally it won't issue the raw material on directly as a goods issue. Instead of that, it will transfer the warehouse inventory from one warehouse to another warehouse. The advantage of it, basically, as and when from the floor something want have something is to be returned, so that can be taken back if the transfer is used. Again, this is the weight entry, weight entry. The So because this is related to the specific fabric customers, or like just want to put the weight along with this what sizes are received, along with that what is the weight of that particular and at that point of time, like you are sending a 10 pieces which are in a different sizes, or like you have been completed a process of the particular garment, what is the weight. So again, in garment that is not required, because again it is everything is going on the piece. But anyway, in case the customer want a weight entry also along with that, that can be enabled. In terms of that, this facility available. Applying the shrink processing charges, in case because we are giving the yarns to the processing, okay, because some of the customers are, you know, uh, some of the customers are dealing with the uh, they are manufacturing, actually the process is different. Likewise, they are buying a yarn and sending it to the for the weaving process, or like fabric knitting process. So these are the processes, okay. In that, whatever the yarns has been given, based upon that, like 10 kg has been given to the contractor for the process, but the output has been come of the 9 kgs only. So he will be whatever the output has been given by the contractor, so he might be charged according to whatever the output he have been given to the company. So he might be charged at that point of time for the 9 kgs. But in another context, when we are sending the fabric uh, for the dyeing purpose, that point of time we are sending the fabric like 100 meters to the job worker. And in that case, uh, they in the dyeing process there can be a shrinkage as well, okay. So in that case, the 98 meters now the fabric is, but the processor will charge you for the 100 meters itself. So in that case, the applying processes on shrinkage you can use it. So this is the functionality you can enable. In that way the functionality is available. uh, Issue the raw material by production lots. So whatever the lots you are generating here, in that way you will be able to the issue the raw material. We will see the functionality further as well. So again, 10,000 pieces you are going to make, and in that you have been created 10 lots in that particularly. And for the each lot, what raw material is required, uh, so at that point of time you should get a calculation exactly. So you will be able to enable that. So you will be system will give you the idea for this particular lot how much is the quantity, and what are the averages. According to that, yeah, that raw material can be issued on floor. There is use alternate credentials for the inventory posting. This is particularly the customers are uh, having a multiple branches, but entries are happening from like entire the manufacturing is happening in a particular branch, but the different branch users are using the FashionNX for the entries. Like one company is parent one, but another different entities of the same company are working for that particular parent company. And legally all companies are the individual entities. But in that case, uh, the practical productions on a legal way is happening uh, on that particular firms, or like you can say the secondary entities. So those user will get the access of the fashion next. They can use the inventory of the parent company itself, because entire the inventory has been purchased by the parent company. A whole the the production is happening in terms of issue for production, receipt from production, or things are happening in parent company itself. But the production operations are going happening in the subsidiaries company. So that time subsidiaries companies will able to make the transactions in FashionNX. But what are the postings? Because they may not have the access of the parent company branch. Okay, in that case, whatever the posting they are doing it from the subsidiary company. So the posting should be enabled in the parent company. If we do this, so it will use the alternate credentials of the parent company itself, and will post the inventory uh, in the parent company production module itself, instead of basically this is enabled because that particular subsidiary company do not have the posting rights in the or like access of the branch of the parent company. In that case, how the manufacturing will happen of the parent company, because the raw material has been purchased by the parent company. So production is supposed to be done at to utilize that raw material. Everything need to be done at in the parent company. But to control that, this feature has been introduced in the FashionNX. Apart from that, there are the several options available when the raw material, consume raw material on basis. Okay, so in when we are doing the the production, so whatever the raw material we have been issued on floor, as and when the production receipt is done, so all raw material should get issued in a one go. That is the available as and when we uh, mm, whatever the receipt we are doing in terms of ratio. So like particular size is received, what are the consumption of that particular size is in terms of the component of the required on the production order, so that will consume based upon the ratio if the defined here. And again the backflush, that is the default one. Whatever the this almost work similar, but like in some way there are some the batches involved, but that batches need to be flash it out by the fashion instead of using the single batches for the consumptions. Again, this will use in the stocks purpose, because whatever the yarn has been issued on floor, so that they cannot determine that exactly which batch has been used, but whatever has been issued on the floor, that need to be consumed automatically in the backend. So for that purpose, you can use it. And now the when the raw material should get consumed. Okay, so uh, there are two ways to consume the raw material, because in garment itself or like footwear itself or in the fashion industry, kind of the accessories we are our customers are dealing with. So the production, it means the last process is done. Okay, like cutting, stitching, and finishing. Finishing is the last process. Our raw material will get consumed at that point of time. One is that. But the another thing, as and when cutting is done, so whatever the fabric related to cutting, like fabric, whatever the raw material related to cutting, cutting is the first process. In cutting itself, there can be a several fabrics which are required, which has been issued to the floor as and when the completion entry of the cutting is done. So the fabrics will get used, or like you can say the goods issue for production will the document will get created. Instead of that, so we can use the production as well. In when your last process is done, whatever the production, whatever the raw material has been issued on the floor, so that will get issued. So instead of that, you will be able to take back some of the raw material is left or on the floor. So till the time you have a chance to get it back from the floor, if you are keeping the production option here. Again, the tolerance when you issue the raw material in terms of or like the receipt of the material, particularly when like you can have an example of it. You need a 10 kgs raw material, particularly for the production order, and you can set a tolerance share of like 10% is allowed to issue more than the required quantity. Okay, so that setting available. Apart from that, the method uh, of issue for process. Okay, so in fashion next, whatever the as I mentioned that cutting, stitching, and finishing. So these are the all processes, and from one process to another process, uh, when the movement will happen. Okay, will it be a manually or will it be the automatically? Okay, like cutting is done, it has to be the whatever the quantity has been completed, that should be get issued to the next process automatically. That is that question answers here. You can say automatic. In that case, system will automatically issue the like the quantities to next process. When you say manual, so whatever the quantity has been completed, that has to be issued to next process, which is stitching. So user will say that this is particularly completed quantity and the cutting so and so. Now I am going to issue this particular quantities to my stitching department. Why this required? Again, I don't receive anything from the cutting department to my stitching particularly. So in automatic issue, it will show you that the things has been received to you, but in a manner physically, I don't receive anything. So you can think on it how customer want the entries. So based upon that, you will be able to use this functionality uh, of the like process automatically issue. You need to set it up, or like you need a manual issue for the process. There is a default sort in production list. There are several fields. There will be the control center further, and in that particularly how you want to uh, sort your production orders. Like based upon your production plan number, sales order number, item code, and description. These are some sort features available. So in that you can use that, and you can use that. So your list of orders will get sorted according to the this particular setting is. Again, first and last process you can set as a default. In some of the customers case, there will be the first process, uh, is defined. Whenever the production order is created, production plan is created, they automatically the quantity will get issued to that particular process. Like knitting is my first process, okay, for the socks particularly. So I know whenever I'm creating a production plan to produce that particular socks is so uh, I can define my particular first process, and the system will automatically will issue the quantities to that particular process. In a similar manner, we can set it up a last process. There are some settings available related to the processing charges. As I mentioned that this is applies shrinkage charge processing charges on shrinkage when we are giving doing the processing thing, like as I mentioned that the dyeing part, whenever the job worker we are providing us the job working charges invoice. So we are when we are receiving the goods in our factory, or that time we are making a receipt entry, at that point of time we are there is the predefined item is linked for the processing charges. Okay, that we can link it here, and that we can link it here, and whatever the receipt are happening for the job booking charges will directly book under this particular items. So there is a list of item. Now this is a blank one. I will showcase these all settings in the another data where the data is. And again, in the planning itself, the required approval for planning. This again, there is one feature available, the data ownership. Earlier, this feature was required separately, but now the data ownership is there. So it will handle the approval process on the different documents. This may not be now, like this is the improved one. Generate project on the plans. Again, this is a predefined setting where the where when we generate the plan, the project number of the SAP Business One project functionality, which is standard on financial project, that will get created. That setting we can do it up. Uh, in the default, like the markup for the production. So some of the customer like want, if we are planning to do a quantity of specific item is 100, we want some additional quantity by default as a plan. Okay, so you can say that 10% they want additional quantity. What are the default plan quantity? Or so that is again the control regarding to the quantity only, and the number of colors. Okay, so I'll showcase that as there is a one setting available in terms of maximum number of sizes, how many sizes you want to deal with, like 22 sizes are currently available. So there is a no limit on the color specifically. There can be a n number of colors of a particular garment, but how many colors should be get listed on the production plan? So that limit we can set it up. Apart from that, some of the information related to capacity planning, we can set how many shifts to in the that particular company in at customer level. Like standard daily capacity. Again, how the planning, what will be the planning unit in terms of the seconds, minutes, and hours. This unit we can set it up, and when the day start of that particular company, this is particularly we will showcase in the part of the planning module, where we will see the machine planning and the resource planning. So now we'll come to the barcode. See again, I just want to mention it. I'm just explaining the what are the scenarios and how we can enable the feature of the FashionNX. These are all features available. One customer may not require all features. Some customers require multiple features. According to that, you can enable these features according to their requirements, how the requirement is coming from the customer. Barcode label printing is there. So when we can set it, we can set the printers, uh, some, because there are some manufacturers available, uh, you know, of the uh, printers where we are printing the barcodes. So okay, and so basically the printing things I will showcase here the later on as well when we'll configure the barcode label. But definitely for that we need some setup regarding the printing thing only. There is a separator, we can use it. So when we are scanning, we can have a separator like dash or something, like we can called bin dash. In a single box we can scan a bin and barcode as well of the product. So at that point of time we can keep a separator, and what kind of separator we want, so we can add it up. Apart from that, these are all the default setting for the scanning purpose itself, because we are in the scanning tab. So when we are these are all the entry user friendly things. Okay. So when we scan, because there are in the entries itself, when we are saying that scanning the machine barcode, when we are scanning the operator barcode, when we are doing scanning a production barcode, order barcode. So at that point of time, what should be a prefix is there, and the system will read that prefix, and system will determine the scan what kind of scanning data you are scanning the data. So that point of time you will be able to use this barcode. Okay. So now in the feature itself, there are several features we can enable in the FashionNX in terms of the enable pictures, like what are the images, like in the item master, there is in the remark itself, you will be able to attach the image of the product. So when you will enable this on the standard SAP B1 screen as well, you will be able to see one of the image viewer, and you will be able to see the item master image in the screen. Enable merchandising. So again, this need to be enabled in terms of whenever we are dealing with our customers majorly, and this is 100% required to enable the merchandising. Production related things, we want to enable the routing. What are the processes of the manufacturing we want to enable in case the scrap reconciliation. Again, the shift reconciliation. These are all the, like fabric cutting. These are all modules actually related to production. So what modules we want to enable, that we can do it, and as and when we according to again customer requirement, what customer is working with, what kind of product, you can do all these settings of the Fashion Next initially, and you can like start using the FashionNX.